Happy Women's History Month. This month is definitely dedicated to all the women out there. And today I am a co-host, and you see her from the last episodes. I'm not even going too much, introduce yourself once again, the host of this evening. Please introduce yourself.
Hey everybody. Thank you again, Diamond Cash, for having me on Diamond Cash Incentives. I am your host for this Women's History Month, Phonetic Wisdom. So if you don't know me, y'all, I'm from Far Rockaway. I'm a poet, spoken word artist. I've hosted and curated events. My brand is Voices of Black Power for Black women who've been impacted by sexual abuse and trauma, taking that story, that trauma, that narrative, and transmuting it from pain into power. And so that's a very big part of what I do. I do quite a few things. We can get into that. But yeah, so today we have my girl. We go back to like high school. Okay. So I've definitely seen her like transform from like cocoon to butterfly. Vanessa Wilson. She is quite a few things. She is a holistic coach, a vegan chef. Her brand is the Veganies, which we're gonna get more into. She's all about mind, body, and spirit wellness, and I can never emphasize or express how important that is and how vital that is, especially in this day and age of awakening and seeing so many people leaving, what is deemed as the traditional way of living and being for a lifestyle that is more indicative of that which represents our internal desire to be better and to be more. So yes, give us a little bit about yourself, Vanessa, because I could go on for days about you. So I just wanted to give them a little insight. You know what I'm saying?
Gratitudes. I really appreciate that. I told you both off camera. Thank you so much for this platform and this opportunity. It's always such a gift to be able to just freely speak on what I do. And what I do is totally a lifestyle. That's the first thing I'll say about it. But yes, my name is Vanessa Wilson. That was a beautiful intro, Miss Phonetic. Thank you so much. So yes, I am a holistic coach. That pretty much embodies everything that I do. And like I mentioned, it is an entire lifestyle. So not only have I been a practicing vegan for 7 years, I'm also very much into fitness, very much into spiritual development, very much into mental coaching, shifting from that scarcity mindset to that abundance mindset, and just knowing that I do have everything that I ever need at any moment. And that mindset shift in itself is a game changer. So I just can't wait to, I'll leave you guys a little bit, with that little bit, and we can expand as we continue to talk.
Yes. Thank you. And I love that you've been on this journey for 7 years, because that number in and of itself holds a very powerful spiritual weight. And also I learned that our bodies, our cells renew themselves every 7 years. Mm-hmm. So you're actually totally new right now.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be a totally new person?
So amazing. The beautiful thing about that is that I've been new, from pretty much from the time that I made the decision, and probably maybe about like 2 or 3 years into the journey of cleaning up my diet and cleaning up my spiritual environment. I've already felt new. So even before the 7 years, it's funny that we often think we have to go drastic, and that's not the case. Once you shift that mindset, it gets easier and easier because you understand why you're doing it. And we'll get into that later on. But not only that, we don't need as much time, right, to actually experience the changes. It's so beautiful how quickly it can happen. Again, once you make that decision and shift that mindset, and it's like a brand new world. So it feels amazing. I feel so, I feel invincible most of the time. And even, yeah, I really do. And even when I'm having tough times, even when I'm down and out, even when I'm crying, even when, you know, things aren't going right in my life, it's such a rewarding feeling to know that, well, I have the power to change this at any moment. And it's a beautiful feeling.
Yes. Shout outs to that. Shout outs to your new cellular body.
Yes.
Regenerated all your cells. And it's funny, you've been on your journey for 7 years, because I started back in like the end of 2014. So we're approaching 7 years.
Nice.
So yeah, it's definitely, it's a lot that you can say about it. It's so many different ways that you can go in expressing how that change has transformed you, of course. And there's almost like so many words and no words at all, right? Before I get into any questions though, I wanted to see if Diamond Cash wanted to chime in and you know, get any insight or what have you. Like a T-Pain song, right?
The internet don't love me today.
Okay. Well, I heard you say you were asking about her journey as far as what?
As for how did she get into being a vegan?
Okay, so yeah, I felt like that's where you were going. So what inspired you to make this lifestyle change?
Yes. So that's a great question. That's one that I get really often, because 7 years in, you know, I already made the decision before it was a fad, before it was cool, before all these fast food restaurants had vegan options and things of that nature. I think I was a little bit ahead of the curve. You know, I thought about this before, and I think I grew up, I'll start here. So I grew up to two Jamaican parents, Jamaican West Indian parents. And, you know, in my household, there was stewed chicken and rice and peas and curry chicken and, you know, stew peas and all of these traditional foods being made. And not only that, my mom, I was pretty much raised in a by a single mother. And she worked, right? She worked 8-9 hours a day. And for the most part, my sister and I were home together to fend for ourselves. We come home from school at 3 or 4 p.m. and we're going straight to the corner store. We're going straight to the bodega. I like to tell people I was raised on bodega food, right? Them turkey sandwiches, the Lay's potato chips, the dollar juices, and you know. So I like to share that because I want people to know that like I wasn't born in a vegan household. I didn't have a vegan inspiration growing up or anything like that. But what I do think influenced my journey subconsciously was that my father is a 7-day Adventist, and I grew up with him being pescatarian my entire life. So that was kind of like an alternative diet. And, you know, now that I look back on it, I'm like, oh, well, that was a different way of eating that I was introduced to in my life, in my childhood, but I was never pescatarian. I was never vegan. He never pushed that lifestyle on us or anything like that. But I do think it resonated on a subconscious level. Fast forward, I was in high school, and I don't know if Phonetic remembers, but we at my house, we would always throw these barbecues all the time. Like my house was just the popping house, right? Everybody would come for these barbecues, yeah, and we'd be turning up. And I remember it was the 4th of July one year. I don't think I was in high school. I think I was still in college, or maybe like, you know, my sophomore year of college or something like that. And I had on this long blue maxi dress, right? And it's the 4th of July, so we're all celebrating or whatever. And I had on the American flag hat, whatever. And this was the scene. I'm just setting the scene for y'all. And we were in the front of my house at this barbecue, and I was holding a sparkler in my hand, and we're celebrating. And we took a photo in front of my house, like my friends and I. And the next day, someone sent the photo to me. And I looked at that picture, and I was literally unrecognizable to myself. I was just so big. Like I had gained so much weight. And at that time I was just eating like anybody else, right? I was just eating all these toxic things. I remember like not waking up, but eating Chinese food and pizza at like 4 o'clock in the morning just because I'm bored and things like that, like those unhealthy habits. And when I saw that picture, it was a physical representation to me that something needed to change. Because I was looking at the picture like, no one told me I was this big. Like, I don't have real friends. Like, what's going on? And so that was actually the first time that I can remember that I knew I needed to make a change. So what I did was I was like, okay, there's no shortcuts here, right? I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I know that I have to eat well and exercise in order to get my weight down. So that was actually the first part of my journey before I decided veganism. So I was eating lean meats, I went back to school. I was going to school away in Pittsburgh at the time. I went back to school. I had my little apartment. I would go grocery shopping. And instead of getting cookies and like all of the unhealthy things that I would usually eat, I started scaling back on those unhealthy food items and started implementing more fruits, more vegetables for the first time in my life ever, and for me, it was not anyone else's influence. It was a decision I was making for myself. So I started to raid my fridge. I started to, do different things as far as my grocery lists. I was working out every day from school to home. I had to walk. I walked from school to home, and then I would immediately put on my workout clothes and go out for like a 20 or 30-minute run. And this became my routine. Now, mind you, again, this time I'm not vegan. I'm still eating fish. I'm still eating tilapia and like boiled eggs in the morning time and yogurts and things like that. Still consuming dairy. But I was more focused on getting my weight down. So a year into that journey, I was starting to do more research, right? And I started to cleanse my social media accounts. So now is when I start unfollowing all the toxic pages and following these conscious pages, these pages talking about health and wellness and, the benefits of eating well and, the government's hands in the food industry and how that's connected to the medical industry and all of these things. I started connecting the dots. And I was like, oh, shoot, this is not good. So my boyfriend at the time, him and I would share these posts back and forth. It's so funny when I tell the story because it's like, this is just literally how it happened. We would share these posts back and forth. And I remember one post in particular was highlighting the fact that the food industry sprays these meats with carbon monoxide, right? To preserve the color, right? You've heard that before. And I started reading more on it. This is also when I started, like my consciousness it wasn't just food. And this is why I teach and I coach how I do now, because it's not just about food. Once I started to cleanse my diet, my spiritual aura started to clean up. So now I'm watching documentaries like Hidden Colors, right? And I'm getting into the truth about who I really am, my place in this country and how that came to be, and everything starts connecting. And when we saw that post about the meat being sprayed, I went in my freezer and I would buy these individual packs of tilapia. And I went in my freezer, I looked at the ingredients for the first time ever, and it said the ingredients were tilapia and carbon monoxide. And I flipped out, like for the first time it resonated. You know what I mean? Like I felt it in my being, like, oh shit, I'm deliberately consuming this, like a poisonous chemical. Like, are you kidding me? And it just hit different, it just hit different. And I bugged out. I got a big garbage bag and I started throwing everything out. I started hearing about the fluoride in the toothpaste that same day. I Googled fluoride-free toothpaste. And I went over to the nearest Rite Aid and I got a fluoride-free toothpaste and I paid extra and I did the whole nine. So, the vegan decision wasn't just about, oh, I need to be healthier. Well, it is, I need to be healthier, but it wasn't just like I'm jumping on a vegan bandwagon or, it's a buzzword. It was encompassing the entire lifestyle. How can I take control? This is really what it was. Take back control of my life. I had realized that none of these food industries, right? None of McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, none of these companies were putting a gun to my head and saying, walk into this store and take out your wallet and buy this food. And then once you buy this food, open your mouth and eat it. You know what I mean? Like, no one's doing that. Yes, it's conditioning. It's conditioning, it's predictive programming, it's effective marketing. And I was just like, I'm free. I'm free to eat what I want. I'm free to buy what I want. I'm free to make my own decisions. So now that I'm old enough and I know better, why would I continue to engage in these destructive habits? And that was the switch for me. So my boyfriend at the time said, hey, babe, like, let's go vegan. And at the time we had a friend who was already vegan for 2 years. And I was just like, hell yeah, let's do it. And what made it easier is that I had a partner. So when I moved back to New York from college, we would find all of these new great vegan restaurants. We would try all these different foods. We would go grocery shopping together. We would cook. Our parents were on board, like our household. And I think that has to do with us making that decision from a convicted place. I think that energy radiated to the people around us, like, oh, they're not just bullshitting, or they're not just doing it because it's cool. They really mean this. So our parents were on board. My mom would make me like brown stew tofu, and I had that support. So the beginning of my journey, it made it a really easy transition because I had the support and I also had a partner, and we were doing it together. So I went vegan, and I'm no longer with that person, but I just never looked back.
I love it. I love
So
it.
I love I love it. Like, so I love the fact that you said I love the fact that you said you Google these things. And on this podcast, we always do like an introduction. We're not doing an introduction today, but we always talked about of ingredients. We've talked about natural flavors. We talked about aspartame. We talked about high fructose corn syrup. We talked about juice concentrate. We talk about all these things in each individual podcast to break down what is in that you are consuming. So I love the fact that you made it conscious that you're like, yo, I'm not eating this. Like this is what I'm consuming to my body, and this is why I tell my list. I tell all the listeners in the podcast, just think about it. Think about, this is your body that you are living in. This is your temple. So ask yourself, do you want artificial things inside your body, or do you want things or do you want God-made food inside your body? So that it's a decision to make. And I just love to the fact that you told that story. But before you talk about the more of your journey, I want to get to the part where how can people, like, what advice do you have for people, especially women that want to get in a journey to cut off meat or cut off, like, artificial, consuming these things? How can they cut this up? Or what's the journey that they take? No?
Yeah. You know, when I get questions on like, you know, what type of advice I would give, I just immediately look at my story. I look at, you know, I look at, I just came from that place, right? And so what did I do differently, or what inspired me to get there? And for me, you know, as a woman, as a Black woman of Caribbean descent, especially in America with all of these fatty foods, to me, it was more so a physical thing that I saw. And I think that's why I started out that story with that example of me seeing myself in that picture, me being overweight. Well, I didn't like what I was seeing. So to any woman who's listening right now, you know, if it helps if you start on the physical, right? If you look at it from a physical point of view. Maybe you're not overweight, right? Maybe you love the way your body looks, but how do you feel? Right? Are you fit? When you need to walk up some stairs, like a flight of stairs, are you out of breath? You know, are you young and vibrant, but you don't feel young and vibrant? Right? Do you get tired often? Are you usually like, what's your lifestyle? My advice would be to look at your lifestyle, look at the things that you were doing, look at the activities that you're engaging in. Are you drinking all the time? And don't get it twisted, I'm vegan and I drink, right? I drink. And it's not about that. It's not about judging yourself. It's about looking at what you're doing and making a decision to, okay, why do you want to stop eating meat? Right? You have to look at what the meat is doing, or what you think the meat is doing to your body and to your being and to your life, right? It's possibly weighing you down. It's possibly contributing to your anger, right? It's possibly contributing to some health issues that you're having. It's possibly contributing to the weight gain. It's probably contributing to you breaking out all the time, right? You want clear skin. You're always online asking somebody for their skincare routine, but you haven't drank water since last week, right? So
Talk about it.
my piece of advice, the first thing I would say is take a hard look at your current lifestyle, look at it and say, okay, what am I doing? And how can I modify these things to reach this goal? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's very important to learn to make the connection between why you consume what you consume. Because I've known about you know, healthy eating and what's in our food, and how the FDA is really in cahoots with, you know, big pharma and all of that since like 2014. I grew up being a conspiracy theorist, what have you. Nonetheless, to this day, I still struggle with what I eat. I'll eat food that I know is not going to raise my vibration, that's not going to make me feel good. And I have to ask myself, okay, like if I know what's the better decision, why am I making this poor decision right now? And a lot of times, if people really search themselves, it's tied to suppression. It's tied to suppressing the emotion. And even in this program I'm going through, you know, for Queen Afua, like Sacred Women Rites of Passage, in her book, she will tell you what these, you know, meats and the dairy, what emotions they contribute to and create in you. And one thing that she said a lot, but one thing that stuck out that she said is a diet, you know, filled with meat, it's creates more aggression, like verbally, mentally, sexually, violence. And then you have to tie it back to the nature of the creature that you're eating. That's how deep it is.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't go that deep. But if you're craving something, what aspect of yourself are you trying to fulfill? So when I know when I'm eating these foods, it's like, okay, I'm feeling something right now that I don't necessarily want to confront. Maybe if I dig deeper, I'd see it's a root chakra issue. I'm not feeling grounded. And I realize that the foods I eat is me negatively trying to ground myself. But I know better ways to ground myself.
Yes. Yes, I love that. I love that connection. When I think about my journey, you know, I don't know. It was really effortless, and I keep repeating this because for me it was just rooted in the decision. Like when you make a really convicted decision that you make, you know, for yourself, like it's kind of hard to cheat on yourself, right? And if you cheat on yourself, I mean, you can let yourself slack, but you know, like people are gonna do that to you, and then you're gonna get mad, and like, you know, it's all about taking control of your life. But I love that connection to the emotions, right? And it has everything to do with feeding ourselves on a cellular level. We have to realize that everything, like these are animals, these are sentient beings that had a whole life before they got to your plate. So what are the traumas, right, that they had to go through? And you're eating that, like you're consuming that. Like food is energy, period. So there's food, there's light food, like plants, right? Because they eat light, they eat sunlight. So when you eat that plant, when you eat that fresh tomato, you are literally consuming the light and the water that nourished it to grow into that fruit, that vegetable. And so it's the same exact concept with an animal. That chicken had its head cut off. Before that, that chicken was running around the pen scared because he knew, or she knew, that, you know, he was approaching death, right? So now you're consuming fear, you're consuming the aggression and the anger attached to murder and slaughter, and you're consuming flesh and that blood, and all of that is in the DNA of this once live animal. So not sorry to be graphic, but it's literally in the, you know, DNA holds memory. That's another thing that we don't get into. DNA holds memory. So you're consuming the DNA, the live cells of this sentient being, and then you wonder why. Again, you're angry. You wonder why you have these cravings. You're literally changing the cells in your body, and your body is adapting, right, to the things that you're putting on the inside. So, you know, I think it would be easier, but that's why it comes back to education. You don't know that. You're just thinking you eating a chicken sandwich because that's what you grew up on.
Yeah. And I don't know who came up with the phrase ignorance is bliss. And I'm sure maybe in some other reality that I'm not aware of right now, ignorance is bliss. But you know what? I can almost see how that phrase is a phrase, because when I didn't know, my body didn't know. And when my body didn't know, my body could not react to those foods as if they were the enemy. Now I could go get some chicken, but my senses, my nose, my olfactory is gonna be like, you really about to do that? And then because I'm stubborn and I'm strong will in my mind, because this is all a mental thing.
Yep.
I'm gonna be like, I hear what you're saying, but I really don't care what y'all saying, because I want to do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And so it really is, when you say you have to make a convicted decision, even in business, like when I think I was sitting in on a Zoom with my mentors, or maybe I was watching one of these like motivational speeches, but somebody had said something about when you really make a decision and not like this kind of like, I think I'm gonna do it, and then I'll act like I'm doing it, but I really didn't decide. You have to decide, because if you haven't decided, it's going to show, and it's going to reflect in the choices that you make, that you really haven't decided where you want to go. And, you know, I think for me, what set me off on that path was like all the knowledge and all the information. But I realized that wasn't enough for me, because I can be a knowledge junkie. And so I can take in a lot and be like, oh my gosh, and connect the dots and put it together. But if it hasn't if it hasn't really occurred to me on a deeper emotional level, because I feel like I'm a very emotional being, if it doesn't occur to me on that sentient level as to why it is my detriment, I'm not connected to the information. Like my mind can sense it, but my spirit is not receiving it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's levels, it's levels to it. Like the decision has to be mind, body, and spirit. It can't just be one aspect of yourself
Right.
taking it in. All
Yeah.
of you have to take it in.
Yeah. And, this just came up, like, again, when I think about my journey, for me, it started physically. For me, I looked in the mirror, or in that case, a picture, and I didn't like what I saw looking back at me. And I knew the answer was, okay, you're going to have to clean up your diet somehow. Right. But now that, whoever's listening to this and really, is struggling, right? You really do want to eat better. You really do want to engage on a plant-based lifestyle, or you already have, and you're struggling to maintain it. Look at your life, right? Look at the circumstances that's happening around you. Look at your relationships. Are you attracting a lot of people who are angry? Are you attracting like toxic people? You like it's kind of like your life is in a downward spiral and you don't know why. Like bad things keep happening to me. Oh my God. Like, here we go again. You wake up angry, or you like this. It's not just, and maybe you're a slim person. Maybe weight has never been, a thing for you, right? Like an issue for you. But energetically and spiritually, what are the things that you're attracting into your life? It most likely can come back to your diet. Wow, how am I eating? How am I eating? When's the last time you had an apple? When's the last time you really properly hydrated your body? Right? We're like, what? I don't know the number, but a large number, like 80-85% water. We're a lot of percent water.
I think we're 60% water, and then our cells are a different percentage of water. I think our cells are like up to 80% of water, if I'm not mistaken.
And we're made up of cells, right?
Yeah, but we're mostly made up of water, regardless.
We're mostly made up of water. We don't live in a culture where water is, where we grew up on high fructose corn syrup, like Diamond mentioned earlier, and just sugar. And this has an effect. This has an effect on the way we operate. Our brain isn't getting enough oxygen. We don't breathe right. We wake up with mucus, right? And phlegm on our chest. And I'm telling you, so once I started to feel the difference, I was like, oh shit, this was connected to my diet the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I can breathe. Like, it's life-changing. And you don't want to go back. So you have to do it long enough. You got to do it long enough so that you can feel like once you start to see the results, it becomes addicting. So that's another tip I'll give.
Yeah. And just that, like, I'm going to segue, but in the Queen Afua book, I don't know if anybody is aware of this book, but this is the book I've been going through. And on her chapter on sacred foods, she has like a chart of the different type of foods that people consume and what's the state that it caused. And so here is how we can see the brainwashing in full effect. Sugar we associate with like excitement and happiness and feeling good. And in this book, she labels sugar an oppressive food, and the oppressed state affiliated with that food is depression, anger, frustration, and mood swings. But when people think of ice cream, they think, oh my gosh, yay, like ice cream. They even play the jolly music, which we learned that actually really wasn't jolly. And so it's the programming on so many different levels. And just having that understanding, which you've already realized and had the revelation, if you're what you are consuming, what you're going to put into your body, you're going to put into your mind. Like if you're willing to consume bad food, you're going to be willing to consume bad TV, bad people, bad thoughts. And that book this book goes into that just as well, because our life is holistic, whether we realize it or not. Everything is connected, and we need to really come to that reality and stop trying to compartmentalize because that's just not the case, you know? So this episode, of course, is about self-care. And so I don't know if you want to express how you see self-care in terms of your life and your life's work. I feel like it's self-explanatory, but I feel like you have something to say there, so I'm gonna let you do that.
I appreciate that. Self-care happens every moment of my life now, and it is such a gift. It is such a gift. Oh my gosh. All right. So when I think about self-care, the first thing that comes to mind is, and I think I expressed this to you guys at some point, like I really consider myself the most selfish person ever. Right. Mm-hmm. And when I was younger, the idea of being selfish was not glorified, right? It was actually frowned upon. Like, oh, you know, if someone asks you to do something for them and you say no, oh, you're so selfish. You only want, you only care about yourself and shit like that. And then I got older and I got just deeper into myself, right? My higher self. And I was like, yeah, I do only care about myself, right? Everybody only cares about themselves. And I think once we get radically honest about that, we would free ourselves, and we would actually free the people around us, because we're connected to this we're too attached at the hip, right? We're too dependent on our families, our friends, our significant others, the government. We're too dependent. We're not self-sufficient. And we're not self-sufficient because we don't know that we really have the power to properly take care of ourselves. Everything that we need, we already have on an energetic level, even on a physical level. We literally come equipped with all of the tools that we need. So self-care, right, is taking care of those faculties to me, right? So self-care to me looks like right now, and I wasn't this way, let's say like 4 years ago, this is a recent development as I started to grow spiritually. But self-care looks to me like just saying no when I don't feel like it, like not holding myself to these obligations that I put there. I'm a Sagittarius, and I don't know if this is just a Sagittarian trait, but I am just like, and this is also why my journey has been kind of effortless for me, because I'm naturally very disciplined. Once I set my mind to something, you can't move me. I can't even move me. I'm like, no, I committed to this. This is like, it's a hard yes, like we're doing it, whether or not I feel like doing it, right? And in some spaces, in some places, that is necessary, but now I'm unlearning that, because it comes up in everything. So now I realize that it creates a boundary issue. Now I don't have healthy boundaries when it comes to people in my life asking me to do things for them that I just don't feel like doing. It could be my mom asking me for a ride, and I'm like, I love you, but no, take the bus. I'll send you money for an Uber, right? It could be my sister asking me for a favor. It could be anything. And I'm just like, no. And honoring that no for yourself, that is so important, because we keep doing and expending all of this energy that's not rooted in a true decision. It's not rooted in something that we want to do. We get in the habit of doing things that we think we should do and we think we have to do. And this reflects in all aspects of our lives, right? So we're talking about self-care. Self-care to me looks like rest. Like I take so many naps now. I mean, now I get to, thank God, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. And yes, and I get to take naps, right? I get to just like wake up and not feel like doing anything, not feel like, having meetings, canceling that meeting if it's not, like things like that. I'm also honoring my meditation, my meditative practices. So meditation for me is not just the sit down, close eyes, om, even though that is a great, great, great meditation practice. But meditation for me also looks like sun gazing and listening to affirmations and writing poetry and cooking for myself is a meditative practice. High vibrational music that I know enters my psyche, right, on a vibrational level that's going to help me vibrate higher. And I've learned over the course of these 7 years that certain practices raise my vibration, just like certain foods raise my vibration, certain music raise vibration, and certain practices lower my vibration. And when I'm in a lower vibration, things around me just don't go well. I'm attracting angry people. I myself may be angry. I'm tired. I don't feel like doing shit. The list goes on. And then when I'm in a higher state of being, I'm vibrant. I'm finding the sun. I'm finding the light. I'm having healthy connections with people. Things are just going according to plan. My day is going smoothly. And it can be those little subtle changes in your life that you're like, oh, that was a little thing, but I made the decision or I did the practice in order for it to go smoothly. I hope that's understood. But yeah, so self-care to me looks like honoring those practices that I know work for me and that I know raise my vibration and sticking to it so that I could have a wonderful, seamless life. And if I'm having a wonderful, seamless life and I feel good, I'm naturally going to help the people around me. You know, I'm going to be able to show up for them. Like a millionaire.
You know what I love about that you just said that? We don't even realize that us being on our highest vibration is all the help that they need. It's literally that simple because you have strengthened your aura and your energetic field to a field of healing. You have become a healer of self, and now you embody a healing frequency and vibration. And so just your presence alone is healing to them.
Yes.
And it is inspiring to them.
Yes, we don't get that because we've been conditioned too much in this physical. We think that helping someone is giving them money. We think that helping someone is showing up for them. We think that helping someone is doing that favor and going physically above and beyond. And that's at your detriment because you don't want to do that shit. And it's draining to you on a physical level, which is then draining to you on a spiritual level. And now everybody's messed up, right? I'll give you guys a perfect example about what you just said, Phonetic. So my grandmother is wow. She'll be 99 this September. Yeah.
Wow, God bless her heart. I'm so happy.
God bless her heart. I
gotta ring my ancestor bell. Ooh.
I'm not even I mean, out of respect, you know, she's lived a long life, right? And I don't have necessarily a healthy relationship with her, simply because she's just, you know, like a toxic Jamaican grandmother.
She's the older Jamaican woman who's stuck in her way, and you can't tell her nothing.
Way. Oh, you sound like you made peace with this one already, sis.
Girl, listen, God bless her that she made it that far, but we got our parents at their age, they don't want to hear nothing we gotta say. So I already know.
Yeah, she did. She'll be she's 98 now, she'll be 99. And when I think about her, like, so that means when I was growing up, she was in her 70s, right? She was like in her 70s. And then when I was in my adolescence, I just knew her as my 80-year-old grandmother, right? And then she became my 90-year-old grandmother. I've never seen this woman walk without a cane. In her house, she has 2 levels. And when she was healthier, her bedroom is on the 2nd floor. Once she had surgery on her knee or something like that, she could no longer be in her bedroom upstairs because she couldn't climb the stairs. So her kids had to move her downstairs on the 1st floor. I've never seen this lady walk without a cane. I've never seen this lady drive a car, right? I've never seen this lady, you know, play with her grandkids in a vibrant, mobile way. And, you know, when I think about someone who is 98 or 99 years old, or even when I think of myself, right, getting to that age, it's not about reaching that number for me. It's about what is your quality of life, right? Can you guys hear me? I see you're muted, but we're good. Okay. It's what what is your quality of life? So you could easily, you know, be a 98-year-old, but unhealthy, taking prescription medications for 30, 40, 50 years, not being able and vibrant and healthy enough to create experiences with your young grandchildren, not knowing what it's like to take a stroll in the park, you know, with your children, right? And to me, that's what matters in life. It's the relationships and the connections that we build with the people around us, right? So as we're talking about you taking care of yourself and going inward and raising your vibration, she's someone who's living a very low vibrational life, to where her granddaughter, someone like me, I don't even want to be around her, and not in a hateful way or anything like that, but I don't feel like there's anything I can do to help you. I feel like I used to call her, you know, routinely, like, hey, just to check up. And every time I would call, Lord God, me paying up. How grandma, how you doing? Yeah, man, paying. Oh, through the whole phone call, and you laughing, and it is kind of comical, but it's actually sad.
It's true.
Why am I calling you just for you to complain about how painful your experience is, when I know there's a Wendy's down the block from her house, and her daughter who lives with her goes and buy her Wendy's the I don't know, 5-piece chicken nuggets and the fries and the frosty almost every day. So I know that your lifestyle is contributing, right? Based on what I know, what I've learned through my personal journey and my spiritual journey, I know that your lifestyle for this whole time has contributed to all of this pain that you're experiencing. And I know that I'm not in a position, I can't help you. Like, you're already set in your ways, you're old, you're on your way out, and there's nothing I can do for you. So I don't want to be around you. I'll love you from afar, because every time I call you, every time I'm around you, every time you're bringing me down, and you bringing me down is not helping anybody. So I just use that as an example. I guess to the flip side, what we was talking about, that energy exchange, that energy that you carry with you is definitely contagious. So if you focus on yourself, if you focus on those practices, if you take those meditative tools and their practices, so you do them a little bit every day, they're gonna build up they're going to build up your strength, so you can be able to handle anything, so that you're constantly, right, on a high vibration as much as you can be. That's the goal, so that when you meet these people who are low vibrational beings, you can love them from afar, because they're diseased, they're not at ease, right? And now you're healthy and you're vibrant and you're taking all of this energy to build yourself up, and then this next person who you love, right, is only there to bring you down.
Emphasis on the
okay.
Because what's love got to do with it?
Okay.
Okay. Love yourself.
Because if you really loved me, you would take care of yourself. How about that?
Because how depressing is it to see someone that you love dying? Really, that's what, like, that's what it is. And I love that you said that, because I, like, 2 weeks ago, one of my aunts passed away, and I wasn't really, like, devastated, because, like, my dad's family, that was my aunt on my dad's side. My dad's from the South. And so, the form, the way of eating and living there is just so detrimental to one's, like, mind, body, and spirit. And I had another aunt pass away in June. They both had to get amputations, and they both didn't recover, because they both had several health conditions, And I remember the aunt that passed away in June, she maybe like 2-3 years ago, I was trying to talk about Dr. Sebi and how she needs to eat like raw vegetables, and because they are so used to their way of life, when I was saying it, it was like, what, like that sounds crazy. And I'm like, well, you're sick though, like what's crazier than being sick on dialysis and you can't breathe? Like, I remember I was driving with her and I opened the window and she said, I can't breathe. And the idea that air is hurting you because you have become so out of touch with your nature, it disturbed me. And I even more so, I realized that my connection to food is very tied to a grieving process, because I realized that whenever there's a funeral, it was like, I Am Surviving Vegan, she actually posted this like few days after I came back from Georgia. And it was like, when you're at the funeral and they're eating what killed the person, I was like, God damn, girl, I was just there last week. And it's like, oh wow, my connection to food, when I'm mentally grieving, I'm trying to go back to that way of eating, because on a deeper level, I'm afraid to let go of my old way of being. And that was a revelation that I had about why I kept grabbing onto food that I know isn't good for me, because it represents a way of life that I'm still kind of holding on to, because I know I'm shifting into a different dynamic, but some part of me just still feels I need to hold on. And food has always been like my go-to whenever I'm going through something, when I'm bored, when I'm lonely, when I couldn't. Oh, who I call me enough? Right.
Okay, someone. And okay. Hey, I don't know what's going on.
She said someone was calling her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on? I mean, okay. Well, so after, when she, to the point, like, when she speaks, talk about more of like, how can ladies tap into their defined femininity, and then after, talk about more about body shape, and how can a woman stop this mentality of like the insecurities and the body shaming of it. I don't want to get too much of it, because I don't want my ladies listeners coming up to me and being like, yo, I don't want our ladies listeners to come up to me and be like, why is the man saying this or whatever? I don't want to get that, that energy. I'm saying, so that's why
and they would be valid in
Wisdom?
saying so. They would be valid.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's why I'm quiet today. That's why I'm more quiet this month. I'm quiet, and so yeah.
I wish Phonetic was here for this one.
Yes.
But yeah, I'll pick that up. That is a great question. And that's a great question. So what I'll start with, excuse me, is again, my journey, right? So my journey began with me feeling overweight, right? Even going to my doctor and my doctor telling me that I'm overweight, right? I'm overweight for my height. I'm 4'11" and I'm thick. Okay. It's definitely genetic, but it was especially that time, largely attributed to the way that I was eating. I was eating a lot of fast food, a lot of fattening foods. And, based on my lifestyle, I was always putting on a lot of weight, especially for my height. Now, for me, it was a personal decision that not really based on trying to be skinny for society, but being too big for myself, right? I felt unhealthy. I felt unfit. I felt like there were actions in my life that were contributing to me looking and feeling overweight or fat. Now, we're talking about body shaming, or the concept of women, you know, having these issues with their body, with their appearance of the body. The main what's the word? The main motivation for me even starting my fitness journey or starting my eating healthier was my stomach area. Even now, well, now, like recently, within like the last 3 months, I kind of shaved off that belief. But my stomach being too big, right? I remember being in the shower, looking down at my feet and not being able to see my feet because my stomach was just protruding way too much, right? And I'm like, this is unattractive. This is unattractive. This doesn't look good. This doesn't really feel good. What's happening here? So now in society, we have this obsession with the flat stomach, the cinched waist, the big old butt, and the big old thighs. And although it looks nice, it does look nice. It's attractive. Like, I do like that body shape. And naturally, I am shaped that way. But as women, we're so far removed from nature that we're not grasping the concept that our midsection being bigger is natural, right? It's natural. Why? Because we were designed to carry life there. We were designed, right? Our reproductive organs live there. Our intestines live there. Our stomachs live there. So we were designed to carry life there. And I get it, right? I get it. Physically, we want to be aesthetically pleasing. It looks nice to have that shapely body, and I'm all for it. But I think that pursuit of wearing the waist trainers and the obsession with it is unhealthy. The obsession with really getting this section down that's sacred and that was built and designed for you to hold and carry life, you're trying to get rid of it. You're trying to melt it away. You're trying to just destroy it. You're cutting it up. You know what I'm saying? You're on somebody's operating table, like just cutting it up for what? For an Instagram post, right? And I'm not saying this with I'm not gonna lie. I am judging a little bit because everybody likes to get on and be like, no, I'm not judging. But I mean, the reality is, like, I would never do something like that because it's not that deep to me. It's not that deep to me. And I also know that there's a natural way to go about it. That's the thing with me. I think that's where I feel like a lot of people get lost, right? We're inviting all of these foreign tools. We're inviting these foreign concepts really into our physical and sacred space, right? Our stomach area is where we carry life. It's where your reproductive organs live, right? In order for you to deliver the gift of life. And if you're a woman, if you never had children yet, I don't have any children yet. And even if you don't want children, I mean, that's fine. But as a woman, you were designed to carry life. And I think that's the main message that we should always come back to when we have this obsession with cutting open the tummy or getting the weight down or starving ourselves or wearing the waist trainers and you can't even breathe. Like, you can't breathe, and breathing, right? Air, oxygen is the essence of life. Like, it doesn't add up to me. It doesn't add up to me. So again, I'll start with, I was there too. That was my main motivation for starting my journey. All I wanted to do, I'm already shapely. All I wanted to do was lose my tummy, right? So I get it. However, I took a natural route. I took accountability. I said, okay, in order for me to lose my tummy, I'm going to have to start eating more greens. I'm going to have to stop eating all this pizza. I'm going to have to stop drinking all this soda. I'm going to have to drink more water. I'm going to have to cut out the cookies. I'm going to have to, and I started actually taking accountability and implementing these things. Not only did I change my diet, I said earlier, right, in the beginning of the journey, before even veganism, I was committed to running 30 minutes every single day, right? So this to me looks like, okay, you're making a decision. You know what it takes to get your tummy down. You know what it takes to build your butt up. You know what it takes to get those flabby arms down. Put in the freaking work. Put in the work. You know, it's gonna be so much more fulfilling, more it's gonna last longer, it's gonna be more sustainable, and you're going to be able to honor your body and your spirit, right? Like, you know, doing some crunches is not gonna take away from your sacred space. It'll add to it. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's the mentality. It always comes back to the mentality and the reason why you're doing this thing. If your goal is to lose the tummy, so much so that you'll do anything to get rid of it, then you're gonna do anything to get rid of it, possibly jeopardizing the spiritual aspects, right? And so you get the flat tummy, but are you gonna feel more fulfilled? You know what I mean? You get the big butt, but is your insecurities gonna go away? I don't know. I've never done it, but probably not, right? So there's a way to naturally honor the spiritual aspect and still obtain these physical goals. So again, I'm all for the cinched waist and the big thighs and the big butt, but I'm also an advocate for everything holistic and natural. I've been working out this entire journey. I just had a crazy leg workout today with my girl Callie, and I add that in to say like it's a lifestyle. So if you couple the physical working out type of work with the dietary work and the mindset attached to it of that goal, you'll be able to get there. So I know I feel like that was kind of all over the place, but I really do hope I answered that question. And I hope I gave some insight to women who feel like, you know, you're too big or you're too fat, or you know, my thing with that is I'm not gonna lie, only because I was there too. So I'm not gonna lie to you and be like, just love yourself the way you are. I know how freaking hard that is, right? If you really do feel unfit, if you really do look in the mirror and don't like what you see, it's okay. Like, it's okay to not feel attractive, but what are you gonna do about it is the question I would pose, right? So if you know that your habits and your lifestyle got you to that point of looking in the mirror and disliking what you see, you should also know that you have the power to change it. So are you going to change it, or are you going to complain about it? Are you going to do it in a healthy way, or are you going to do it in a way that is quick and easy and not sustainable, right? Are you going to do it in a way where you're dishonoring your temple, right? Are you going to do it in a way where you're inviting foreign objects and foreign energies into your sacred space just for the sake of the hourglass figure, just for the sake of the Instagram post, just for the sake of attracting that baller? Like, what is, you know? So I'm not posing these questions here to judge anybody. I'm posing these questions so that you have some insight and a different way to look at it, or a different way of attracting those goals.
Mindfulness is always key. So yeah.
You was here the whole time, sis?
I came back once you started answering.
I wanted you to I definitely wanted you to get that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know what? We all like go through these changes and these feelings of like, oh, I wish I looked more like this, I wish I looked more like that. And just being mindful, like, stop letting the media control what you think about yourself. At one point, it was a trend to be this, and then it became a trend to be that. And so what's going to be the next trend? Every time the controlling media changes the acceptable perception of what you should be, are you going to lose your mind and say, oh, damn, now I wish I didn't get these booty implants or these breast implants or whatever it is that you may have already done or that you are thinking about doing. And like, as you said, there is literally a holistic method to everything. But if you don't have the discipline, you're not going to want to do it. And, like, I feel like it's a form of laziness when the belief is that I can't get to my goal unless I surgically alter myself. I understand when people work out because they're older, they have that, extra skin or what have you, and that really does have to be surgically removed. But those people worked to get to their goal, until they got to a point where it's like, okay, no, this is actually because I am at this point and I did wait to work on my goals, so now I have a little bit extra to work with and deal with, and you figure out how you want to do when you get there. But if your first inclination is that, okay, I have to go get this tucked and put that there, and you have time on your hands, because we all have the same 24 hours. We all have the same 24 hours. The only difference between the people who did it and the people who didn't do it was that the people who did it chose to do it, and they set aside the time, because people make time for what they want to make time for. The same time you spent to go get that food that you didn't need, you could have just set your mind to do those crunches, to do those, leg lifts, whatever it is. And I know, because I've gone through so many different phases of myself where, like, okay, I'm super on top of this, I'm super dedicated to this, and then I might like regress, and then I'm like, okay, well, this is just me doing it to myself. Like, I really can't put it on anything or anybody else. Like, it's really me. I know how to do what I want to do. And so I don't have the discipline that you have, which is why, like, I absolutely love everything you do and how you've just transformed so much, because it wasn't overnight. This was not an overnight thing. And people will really look at you and see where you are, and they don't know where you came from.
Yeah.
They don't know where you came from. And so they just think like, oh, you were always there. Like, no, you're saying that, you're telling yourself that so you can have an excuse to not get here.
Yeah.
And be aware of that. Like, if you don't want to do it, okay, but acknowledge that you don't want to do it. Acknowledge that you could do it and you're choosing not to. Don't sell a lie.
Thank you.
Don't, because we also have to be mindful when we decide to make those type of decisions. There was a young woman watching us, and now they're thinking maybe that's the best decision to make. So you really have to be open and honest about where you are and how you feel about yourself and why you're doing what you're doing, because we all have a responsibility to somebody else too. Like, we're all somebody's influence, whether we like it or not, And so, yeah, like, I'm definitely, me, we be on the same page.
Yes,
we be on the same page.
I just want to add to that, it's definitely a self-respect piece as well. I noticed in my journey that the times that I'm down, right, the times that I'm not feeling good about myself, like, I'll have weeks on end where I'm waking up super late, right? I'm in the bed. I can't get up until like 10, 11 o'clock. And then I wake up and eat cookies, vegan cookies. But I'll wake up and eat cookies instead of having my sea moss and my tea and my water and like that kind of regimen. And I'll go on a downward spiral. And that has, to me, everything to do with self-respect, right? So I don't respect, and this is just me, and maybe you guys can relate. I don't respect myself when I don't do the things I know that I should be doing for my better health and wellness. Does that make sense?
Bars
Yeah.
on top of bars.
It's a
what
real
you just
thing.
said.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You can't respect yourself, right? And so you're gonna go down on this downward spiral, and you're gonna keep engaging in the the negative self-talk. You're gonna become the victim. You're gonna go through that, And then what else is going to happen? You're going to attract these type of experience and circumstances to you. And now you're inviting other people to disrespect you because you don't even respect yourself. And they know you don't respect yourself. So they're going to handle you however they see fit. That's what we,
period.
You know, yeah, period.
Period. That's
Yeah.
it. And I have posted something on my story, and it was like, it was a meme with a music video, and it was like, I thought it said like her, I thought you was done fucking with him, girl. And then the guy started singing, I'm a clown, I'm a clown. And it's like, it was funny because it's like, yeah, when you know you go against what is best for you, how can you really look at yourself in a higher light or in a higher esteem? You just can't, because you know you didn't do right by yourself. Like,
Facts.
Like, what else can you say other than the truth?
Yeah.
And
so
like
just to connect it back to the diet, you know, if you start with one thing, it'll radiate through the different areas in your life. So if you start with disciplining yourself on a diet, right? Like, let's say you actually do make the decision to be vegan. You got all the information, you watched all the documentaries, you're watching this podcast, and you made that decision, you locked it in, boom. And then a week from now, you're about to cheat on it, right? And then you decide not to. When your boyfriend or when your girlfriend or does something that they know they shouldn't do, or whatever, or your mother or your sister, or whoever, right? You instilled, right? Because you made that decision, you made a neural pathway in your brain, and you instilled this new precedent, right, in your being, so that when a situation arises outside of your diet, right, in one of your relationships, you're going to be able to handle it with the same precedent. You're going to be handle it the same way that you handled yourself. You didn't allow yourself to cheat, so you're not going to allow this person to cheat on you. You're not going to allow the disrespect, because this is the boundary that I set with myself first, and I respected that boundary. So this next person, I'm going to have to hold them accountable. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
Go.
the external is reflective of the internal.
Yes. Yes. It's such a beautiful process, the way it keeps unfolding. And I posted on, when I started my business, that was another beautiful unfolding. But one of the things that I realized when I started my business, because my business is just an external representation of me, right? My business, the Veganies, which we'll get into sooner than later, is literally just my lifestyle wrapped up in a profitable way. And one of the things I realized is that because I pour so much into myself, all the areas, or all the other cups representing the areas of my life naturally overflow, because I poured it all into myself first. So it's all connected, as you said earlier. It's all connected.
Yeah, I love that. You want to chime in, Diamond? Because we could go on forever. I'll tell you right now.
We can.
But yeah, just talk about more like the divine femininity. Like, how can how can you guide women and give advice to them to more of giving them or tapping into the more consciousness of their femininity, if that makes sense.
How to tap into the divine feminine. Got you.
Y'all get me?
We caught it.
Yeah. Like what's the what advice? Okay, yeah. Like what's the advice can you give them? It's like just like I'm saying their life and for the femininity of themselves.
That's so loaded. I can go so many different ways.
How do you define the feminine energy? Let's start there.
How do I define the feminine energy? Nurturing. Nurturing is the first word that comes to mind. Definitely strength-based, rooted in emotion and nourishment. And I think that's why I deal with food, right? And nourishing the body, nourishing the spirit, nourishing the mind, and really just cultivating safe spaces for myself to continue to develop as that feminine being. When I think about feminine, I think about Mother Nature. I think about the earth, right? That is our number one resource or example when it comes to that feminine energy, that nourishment that she provides, right? From the food to the soil to the rain, the cycle. It rains, the sun dries the rains, the water evaporates, it goes right back into the atmosphere and like that. So we as women are the direct representation of that same exact energy. And so one thing that I realized in the beginning of my journey was just getting back to nature, right? If I had to say something quick and simple, it would be get back to nature. There's so many things and so many ways that we outpour ourselves externally, right? We always think as women that we need the man or we need the money or we need the, now we need the career, we need the business, right? We need the hair, we need the makeup, we need the eyelashes, we need the fancy clothes, we need to decorate the vessel, we need to look the part. It's too much emphasis on the external. Sorry, not sorry for that inflection, but it's way too much on the external and not enough nourishing and cultivating our heart space and really providing the nutrients to our environment. We got to get back. We got to really get back that sisterhood. And the only way we can do that is first nourishing ourselves. If you're not eating well, if you're not taking care of your skin, your hair, your nails, and I'm talking about your natural, right? That's growing out of your head. If you don't massage yourself, if you're always in pain, you got back pains, you're doing too much external stuff. We're working all the time. We live in a different society now, where the women has definitely taken on masculine energy, right? She's working now. She's outside, just doing physical labor, and she wants to do it, right? She wants to prove herself that she's just as strong. I could do it myself. And in some ways, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's all about balance as well. We all, male and female, have both of these principles instilled in us, the masculine and the feminine energies, but it's about balancing that. So I think women now are not tapped in enough to that feminine, nurturing, nourishing energy, and way too much in the masculine. Like, let the men handle their stuff. Let them cultivate their communities. Let them talk about their self-care and how they're going to provide for their families. You worry about, is he eating well enough to get up and be strong and vibrant to go out into the working world and make the money? You make sure that you're feeding these children well. Here too, you make sure that when everybody comes home at night, the TV isn't raising the kids, the iPad isn't raising the kids. You make sure that you're reading these kids bedtime stories and hugging them and kissing on them. And that's what I feel like the women of today is missing. The when's the last time you hugged yourself? Right? So when I think about the feminine energy, the feminine principles, that's what definitely comes to mind. And I feel like that's what's, I don't think it's missing. I won't say that, because there's definitely community of sisterhood out here. You find it, you can tap into it. But I do think on a large scale, as far as what's being advertised to us, the woman, she's this strong, she's empowered, and I say that not to not to take away from that, because it's a new world. We should be able to do, we are free, right? We are free to do as we please, but we got to balance it out. We got to balance it out and definitely provide that nourishment for ourselves and our community.
Yeah.
You said it.
Mm-hmm.
You said it. Okay? You said it. You said it. So I'm happy you said that. As a man, I'm
You got him
very
fired
happy
up.
you said
Yeah,
that.
because
Okay?
you couldn't say that.
You got
You
him
cannot
fired
say
up.
that.
Of course. Absolutely. If I
You'd be
would've-
canceled, honey.
you can't. Facts.
Uh-huh.
Facts. Thank
Yeah.
you for saying that.
I'm cracking
Thank you.
up right now, yo. I love it. No, I love it because you know what? The key word is balance. And like you said, V, it's nothing wrong with wanting to, go out into the world and being able to, fend for yourself and embrace your masculine energy. But there is a time to get back into your feminine and be aware that, okay, now you should be receiving, because the feminine energy is receptive and the masculine energy is giving, it's active. And so, like you were saying, about Mother Nature, because in astrology, the earth and the water are the feminine elements. And so that goes back to how, we need to be mindful of what we eat and we need to drink a lot of water. This is us embracing that feminine energy just as well. And I think was very important in, what you were saying about how to properly, channel that energy. There has definitely been a brainwashing, that's the best I can call it, that women become masculine and men are being feminized in that, because I was reading a really great book, and it's called The Secret Science. You know what? There's two books I'm reading. Don't let me get it twisted. But there's two books and they're both called The Secret Science. One is just The Secret Science. It's the secret science for the Hermetic philosophy of the transmutation of man, the transformation of man. And in that book, he talks about, John Baines, how when a woman takes on a masculine energy, the man has no choice but to become feminine, because she has effectively, energetically sapped him of his masculine energy. And so the only thing he can do after that is become feminine to submit to that woman's energy, because naturally women lead, but the
Now
way
you
that they
preach it.
lead, the way that women lead is not the same as the way a man leads. And so I think people often get it confused about the mysterious nature, the true mysterious nature of a woman in her feminine energy. She leads by being in that energy, and she allows the man to be and lead in his masculine energy actively, outwardly, but she is the inward example of leadership. And so because we don't understand that science, because we've lost our way in this new world that has this agenda where women should be men and men should be women, and we could go, I could get canceled for going into that. Nonetheless, it needs to be
Preach.
said. It needs to be said, because this is
said.
how we get out of touch with nature. This is why nature
Yes.
is in disarray. This is why there are
Yes.
earthquakes and hurricanes and tsunamis, because Mother Nature's pissed off.
Super.
And
Yeah.
and people need to make the connection, because it's all
Yeah.
connected.
It's all connected.
Even in Sacred Woman, she talks about it, like how when a man and a woman's relationship, which are so many relationships, are not in balance and in harmony, this is how Mother Nature responds to that disharmony. She goes to war. She lets you know this ain't right.
Yeah. And this is the exact thing. I love all of that. And it just sparked something that I recently took a look at. That shows up in the nature of our relationships with our men, right? Or the Black family unit, which we are in the process of restoring. I don't know if we're going to see it in this lifetime, but that's neither here nor there. The relationship between the earth and the sun, right? So the earth, that mother nature, that feminine energy, and then the sun is that masculine energy. The sun gives life to the earth, right? That's where the earth gets all her nutrients, all her life. She turns light into life. And but what does she do? She orbits the sun, and that she's pretty much submitting to the sun. But our idea of submission is that we're not powerful. You know, if I was to submit to my king, that somehow depletes me of my power. Now I gotta show up. Now I gotta show that I'm big and bold and I'm better and I can do it too. This is not teamwork. That's not teamwork. The elements show you, if you get back to nature, shows you how everything has a part, everything has a role, and it's only in it properly behaving in its entirety in that role, how it contributes to the bigger picture. So in our family unit, in our relationship, there's so much disarray, there's so much toxicity, there's so much unhealthy behavior because everybody got a point to prove, right? The woman is trying to be the man, as we said. Everybody got a point to prove. The man is trying to show her up like, no, you're not gonna take away my manhood. I'm gonna show you. And then there's this, it can't work. But it's because the feminine, well, really both of us, but if we're staying on topic with the feminine energy, you know, we really need to get back to nourishment, taking his light as a king, as the sun, and transmuting that into life to now nourish the community. And that's what's missing. It's actually very simple. And we have nature right outside our windows as our greatest teacher. And we're not tapped in. And that's the issue.
Yeah. And nature doesn't lie. Humans do. Because they have the ability to articulate their thought process. And I really figured this out when I watched this. I love watching nature shows. So on Netflix, they have Birds of Paradise. When I tell you that I saw these birds, and these are like tropical birds on the other side of the world, birds you've never seen before, beautiful colors. The male birds clean up their space, tidy it up, and then they dance for the female bird. So she come over, your crib better be clean, brother, because she's checking it out. She want to see how you living. Yeah. Some of these birds actually go as far as to build like a whole like tower to show how dedicated they are. And then of course you got the lazy male birds that don't got no game, they don't want to put in no work. They come to the other bird trying to tear up the crib because you ain't finna get no bird coochie and I'm not gonna get none. So there's haters in the animal kingdom too, yes. But the fact that these male birds understand that they need to be able to display their courtship and, you know, some level of interest. And these women come and they're like, okay, let me see like what you got. I have to figure out if this is something I can work with. And they don't understand that in the real world. Yeah. Like, yeah. I'm like, it's actually disrespectful to use the phrase birds for hood chicks, because if they knew better, they wouldn't be going to those dudes' dirty cribs that don't be doing nothing to show you that they want your time or your energy or that they're going to reciprocate. When the birds in the animal kingdom, you came to preach today. What? You came to preach today. Some of these male birds will go to this post, this one post in the middle of wherever, and sing and dance. Yes, I've seen that this female bird sees them and put on a whole show. A whole show. Yeah. And you can't even get your man to get you an Uber, girl. So if the world's twisted. The world is twisted. The world is
But why?
twisted.
Because we're not respecting ourselves. We're not honoring our own boundaries, right? We're not
Because
taking care of ourselves first.
Yeah, because we don't know our worth and our
Yeah.
value as a woman, as a feminine energy. Whatever that masculine energy has to give to you, your nature is to multiply it. Your nature is to beautify it. And when you don't know that, you're going to give and give and give and give and not know that it is more fruitful for you to receive.
Period. Drops mic.
Bars. Yo,
Yeah.
y'all just preaching.
This-
Yeah.
Yo.
Because
you know why?
dope
Because I had such a way to
conversation.
go before I realized this, you know? And I had such a way to go before I really realized that. And it's because we've seen it being done in reverse for so long that we kept seeing something not work and doing it and trying to figure out how we can make it work. And it's really not meant to work. Like that's just not natural, you know?
Yeah.
No
Definitely.
shade, no haterade. It's just not natural.
Yeah. I do want to, you just reminded me of something. I remember early on in my journey, I didn't know how to take a compliment. And as I listen to other women, just in life in general, a lot of us don't know how to take compliments. We cannot simply say thank you. It's like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Really? Like you don't believe that, right? It's something as simple as that. And what you said that sparked that was that receiving portion. We don't even know how to receive the our worth, right? Our worth. So like a simple practice that you can use is when you receive a compliment, just simply say thank you. Or you can even get cocky with it if it's someone you're comfortable with. I know. Somebody told me I look good, I'll be like, I know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's just that little thing of not even knowing how to receive a compliment. Imagine how many blessings you're blocking. Imagine how much of your worth and the abundance and the prosperity that you want to attract, but you're not even open to receiving it.
Mm-hmm. And you instantly tell people a lot about yourself with not being able to receive something as small as a compliment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we don't realize it, but we're telling people that when we can't receive something that small, we don't believe we're worthy of it. So we're willing to give more than we need to prove ourselves.
Yeah.
And I had a way with that too. And now it got to a point where it's like, I'll realize that there were actually people who saw that I didn't know my worth and would give me compliments to boost up my ego so they could get something out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw it happening again recently, I just told the person, like, for every compliment they gave me, because he was giving me like, it was like speed dating, but speed complimenting. And I was like, oh, he really wants something. So every time he gave me a compliment, I was just like,
Okay.
Did she freeze? Maybe
yeah,
was somebody calling her again?
Yeah. Somebody calling her again. Y'all famous today. You be like, listen, they doing this podcast. I gotta hold on. Let me call them real quick. What they
that was my connection this time, but I did get like two calls. I was like, yo, why right now? But yeah.
Is my background too loud? You gonna hear the background?
You all good? Just a little bit.
Okay, give me.
Okay. So this is what it's about. Yo, you preaching. What? Today's preacher day, I guess. Today's preacher. Today is woman's. Yeah.
I choose my women very well. I will have you know, I choose my women very well.
Listen, this is what we talking about. This is what the podcast is all about. And I'm telling you, it's just straight wisdom over here. It's just straight, y'all just straight, just throwing fire on, just throwing the, you know how Kevin Hart just throw fire on. That's what's going on right now. That's what's going on every time. Every time you were like, yeah, just throw the fire on. That's
Yo,
what it
I
is.
remember that stand up.
It's true. It's true. These spaces are so important, and I'm really grateful. And it's just a conversation, and that's what makes it so cool and so refreshing. Because in our journeys, separation, what do they say is elevation requires separation. So there's a lot of times that we do feel alone in this spiritual journey. Granted, you do have to do a lot of it on your own. There's a lot of inner work that you can't get through with other people necessarily, because you're fighting your own demons. But at the end of the day, like, it's nice and refreshing that there is community of feminine and masculine energies, and we're all, within the Black community, and it's cool to talk about wellness. It's cool to talk about spiritual enlightenment. It's cool to talk about health, right? And so I'm really excited to just be able to share this space and to share my story on your platform.
Absolutely. Let's go. I know we press on time. So last thing, I'm still, like I said, I'm just a co-host for today, so I can't really talk. I'm not really going to talk much. So the last thing before when the podcast comes to conclusion, we always ask, what is your final thoughts overall, and what's your social media later on. We still have about like 15-20 minutes left of time, but just keep going. I'm gonna still let the host do her thing, but yeah, pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So let's get into some affirmations. What are some affirmations that you have developed a practice of saying to yourself?
So many. Hold on, can you guys give me 2 seconds? Why did you know to ask me that question? Give me 1 second.
I know. What's some affirmations you say, Diamond?
I am enough. I am worth living this life. I am important. I am necessary. I just say that every day when I wake up. I always say that I am necessary. I am important. Today is going to be a beautiful day today.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
today's going to be a great day today. I always do that. Yeah, always.
I love it.
A default for me for a number of years, like literally in the beginning of my journey, probably like 2015. I am love. I am grateful.
I love that.
And it just became a default. Like, so I went to go grab this book. This is something that I love to share with people, because it has been, I tell people, like, if you look at me and you look at my journey, you look at my Instagram profile, and you're like, oh my God, like, she's so cool. Like, this is why. Okay. This is like, so what I did, probably in like 2016, I went and I got this little yellow handbook, and I wrote, like, it's just a bunch of different affirmations. And what I do every single morning is read these affirmations to myself. When I don't feel like it, I also have them recorded. And I'm about to drop an affirmation mixtape. Okay. Yes, I'm so excited for that. This is like 3 or 4 years in the making. And so this is just something a nice tool or a good idea I want to share with people. Affirmations work because our brain, or as human beings, like we're literally computers, right? These phones or this device that you're watching us on now, the car that you drive, the home that you live in, everything is modeled after the human body. The human body, right, is the ultimate technology. Like, it operates so many intricate systems without us even freaking knowing about it. So I say all of that to say that we are programmable, which is why from the ages 0 to 6 or 0 to 7, right? they make sure your kid is in school. Why? Because they're most impressionable at that age, right? So these predictive programmings, the TV commercials, the radio, the music, right? It's all impressionable upon our subconscious mind, which enables us to act in ways that we're not even aware of. So what you can do is use affirmations as a great tool to rewrite your narrative, to rewrite your life. So affirmations, I swear by them. I still use them in my daily practice. And what I did with this book is split my affirmations up into 8 different categories. I have health and wellness. I have finance. I have breath work. I have gratitude. I can't remember all of them, but take any number of categories that you and do it that way so that you don't have just like a bunch of, I mean, they work either way, but it's nice to have them categorized. So I'll just share I'll share 2 with you guys, right? I'll share my health and wellness. Sorry, guys. Not sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not apologizing. We live unapologetically over here, okay? All right.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on, somebody.
I'm like,
Come
oh,
on.
sorry about.
We live unapologetically. And that's also something to rewrite. Saying sorry all the goddamn time. What you sorry for? All right. So this one, I put diet. I supplement correctly. So especially as a vegan, you know, where you get your protein, where you get your nutrients. So there's something that you can tell yourself so that you can be more mindful when you're eating or when you're in the grocery store and things of that nature. I create the healthiest and most alkaline environment possible for my body. I take my health and wealth seriously. I inspire others to live happy and healthy. I consistently eat healthy, clean, and consciously. I am beautiful. I feel beautiful. I am fit. I am clean. And that sounds like what I do today, right? So think about when I wrote this was 4 years ago, and now I own a whole vegan lifestyle brand. And now I coach people in holistic practices. So it's so powerful. It's so powerful. I could go on and on, but I'll let you share some phonetic if that's where you were going.
No, I love that you said that, because I realize a lot of us are so fixated on seeing immediate results that we don't realize like our future is based on what we do right now. Where we are right now is based on what we did then. And so, you know, one way or the other, we are always moving towards what our vision is, but what are we doing to see that vision through?
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not consistent with my affirmations, but I remember when I was in therapy like 2 or 3 years ago, I had developed like 4 affirmations that I would say to myself regularly. Like I would be driving, I would just start saying it. I am brave, I am strong, I am determined, I am wise. And recently I've been pivoting into saying like words of affirmations in different languages, because I learned by going through the 12-week rites of passage, you know, for the Sacred Woman book, that the English language is because it's the most bastardized language, it holds the lowest vibration. And so learning to say things in a different tongue, it actually not only awakens, like kind of like how you talk about a different neural pathway in your brain, but it also awakens your ancestors. So it gives more power to your words. And so in the book, she has Nukpu Nuteret Tumit, and that means I am a sacred woman. And then I learned a new one recently, Ankh Uja Seneb, which means health, wellness, and prosperity. And so I think I kind of like changed the way that I affirm myself every now and again, what have you. But I definitely always try to keep it simple and go with like I am affirmations, and not because I think sometimes I realized I was so focused on getting a certain outcome that I would make it so elaborate, and then I would get frustrated because I would feel like I'm not getting the results. So I'm like, girl, just simplify and relax.
Simple.
Like,
Yeah.
And I love the affirmation that you created, because more than an affirmation to me, it sounded like a declaration.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in in the book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, that author, I don't remember his name right now, but he's actually not a fan of affirmations, because he says that there's a part of your ego that hears you saying this affirmation but doesn't yet believe it.
Yes.
So he talks about making declarations. That way you're not necessarily saying that that's where you are, but that's where you are looking to be. And so I like to take a little bit of everything, because everybody has their own way of, moving forward and elevating and ascending, and no way is right and no way is wrong. Like, it all just is. Whatever works for you works for you. And so, yeah, I think I'm kind of like, I'm probably like the smorgasbord of how to affirm myself when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I'm always just in different ways of doing it. And so maybe I don't realize I'm doing it when I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm. But, after using affirmations as a tool for so long, I realized that everything is an affirmation, right? Like, your self-talk is your affirmation. It might not always begin with I am, right? That's the easiest and most powerful way to start. But as you start listening to yourself, and you start really being mindful about how you're talking to yourself, waking up early waking up and being like, oh, I'm not a morning person. You not a morning person. You never gonna be. You gonna hate that shit every goddamn morning, right? Or like, I really want to stop eating meat, but I'm addicted to meat. All right, you're creating that. So like, your self-talk is a constant affirmation. So I think sometimes we hear these buzzwords, right? Like affirmations or meditation or veganism or anything, right? And they're buzzwords, and they're a part of these communities that have so much power and strength, and almost like cult-like, right? And so as an outsider, or as a beginner, you feel like an outsider, and you're like, okay, where do I go, right? I don't want to be attached to a religion. I don't want to be attached to a certain group. I don't want to, and you start associating these practices with that idea, so you reject it, right? But to me, when people say things like, and I know I'm going off, but I'm going in. When people say to me like, oh, I love how spiritual you are, like, I wish I was spiritual like you, it's like, it blows my mind, because it shows me their level of thinking. It shows me how disconnected they are with self. All it is, all of these practices and these buzzwords and the affirmations and the tools, they're just that. They're tools, but you create them. You design them according to how you want to be. So the more you get comfortable with spending time with yourself and getting to know yourself, at first, even that term, know thyself, felt so like I was disconnected from it. Like, what the hell does that even mean? And I was like, it literally just means knowing myself. What I like, what I dislike. Am I into movies? Am I into concerts? Do I like soil? Do I like air? Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are silly examples, but what do I like? Yeah, what do I like? What kind of foods do I like? Do I like spicy or sweet? I like cookies. I know that. I know I like cookies more than cake, right? All vegan. But like, knowing yourself is affirming yourself. So now you can teach yourself the things that you want to hear, the things that you want to be. And now you can also teach people how to treat you, how to interact with you. You create those boundaries, you moving through, it gets easier. You start learning, like, I am everything, I have everything. There's no strive, there's no need to worry. I'm here. Wow, those were affirmations. Effortlessly as I'm talking to you. And another thing you guys don't know about me yet, I'm a poet. So I write. And this is why, I guess I just made the connection. This is why I really resonate with affirmations. Writing them, reading them myself, hearing myself, hearing my own voice, and just being poetic in the way that I write. So find your way. Affirmations is a great tool for me. but there's different ways, there's different tools that you can implement to assist you on your journey.
Ashe. And
Let's go.
there's two things you said that really hit home. How we negate and we speak things that we really don't want to happen and not realize we give energy to that. And I was flipping through the Queen Afua book when you said that, because in the first gateway, which is sacred words, and Tehuti is the guardian, the sacred guardian of words, because Tehuti is a scribe and he is a patron of words. One part of that text, she says, like, instead of saying I'm sick, say I'm detoxing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying I hate my job, say I'm seeking another source of employment. And really pivoting, when you change that tonality of how you articulate your life, you feel very differently. You don't feel the sense of despair you would as if it was coming from this negative space, as opposed to a space of optimism and a space of hope, and a space of conscientiousness. And even with what you said about people looking at spirituality as if it's this existential thing, when hello, there is a spirit within you. That is what gives your that's what animates your corpse, because you're still, like, and that's where the Walking Dead comes in, because you don't even know you're a spirit or a soul being. And going back to what you said about cult, like, I had a whole epiphany. I'm actually going to drop the video probably
I saw your reaction. I was like, oh, buzzword, hit a button.
And I love that, because there was like something on Facebook where somebody had like posted a picture where it's like, name something that's like a cult, but it's not. And then, people just went off listing all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, interesting. Cult is the root of culture. But when they don't like the culture, it's a cult. It's the same thing. It's just how you feel about it.
Yeah.
So
gems.
And words are so powerful, and people don't really know what they're saying more often than not. Like, even when you said device, I broke down the word in my head. D, like as if descending or less than, and then vice. And now I'm like, when I get off here, I'm about to go into that, like, oh my God, I don't know this, because I'm like, well, what do the words really mean? Because that actually doesn't really sound great. D, vice. So what am I using if I'm tapping into my vices, and it's not necessarily like D as if it's descending or deporting? Like, when you think of words that start with the DE prefix, it's usually something that's not that great, And so really tuning into that, and that's when you become aware of all these things, that's what makes you in tune with the spirit, is that you're aware that every little aspect of your life, every word you speak, every breath you breathe, every food you consume, it's all spiritual. It's all sacred. Your life is sacred. But if you don't know it, then it's not,
It's not. And I remember being there, I have to tap into that, or I lose a part of myself, right? So that's what this journey is. Like, I'm a student. I'm able to be a teacher because I'm a student. I'm a student of myself first. And I just love that concept of healers reminding people that they need healing too. It's a constant, it's a journey. It's a marathon. We have all the truth. We hear all the cliches. We hear all these phrases. And again, because we're not connected with the language, right? We're just hearing it. It's just going in, and like, it's not being processed and broken down. These foods that you're eating can't be broken down. You see how I bring that full circle, because it's one thing, right?
Absolutely.
These foods cannot be broken down. Your body cannot process them, just like your mind is not able to process what is happening in this physical space. right? So food is just, it's another way, it's another tool to bring it full circle, how you can unlearn and relearn, deprogram and reprogram. And I also want to tap into what you said about, you were talking about the etymology of these words, right? And you were breaking down the prefix D, right? And you were also saying, like, you also brought up the concept of good and bad. And something I've learned through meditation and my increasing spiritual journey is removing judgment, becoming and constantly being the observer of yourself first. You start observing yourself without the judgment, without the good and bad, without just like the foods, right? I'm helping you facilitate your journey because that's where we get stuck, right? You start your vegan journey, you made the decision, boom. A week later, you're tempted. Your family just ordered pizza and the fried chicken and the hot wings, like going off, and you there like, right? And you feeling it, and you're like, you know what, F this, and you cheat. Then what? Now you go down on now you go down, right? And it's a spiral. And why does that happen? You descend. And why does that happen? Because you judge yourself. Now I'm a bad person. Now I'm a cheater. Now I don't love myself. Now I don't respect myself. What are you affirming? What are you creating? Right? So if you just void the judgment, all right, I cheated. Have grace and patience with yourself on your journey, with anything that you're doing, and that's something that I've recently learned. I was very hard on myself. The journey for me was not easy because I judged myself a lot. And then I proclaimed myself as this vegan in my household, in my community, in my school. And now it's a title that I have to live up to. Now I am someone who does not consume meat or dairy or anything, any kind of animals, right? So now what does that say when I cheat? I have cheated on my journey. That's something I need to talk about on future platforms, because it's something real that people need to know. I am not perfect. I wasn't born a vegan. I wasn't born, well, I was born this glowing person, but it takes work to maintain it. How many good looking people do you know are good at, I'm going in, y'all, I'm going in. I just feel it. Spirit is
Keep going. Keep going.
Spirit is really, is really using me as a very clean vessel. And that's another thing that happens when you clean up your vessel. The cosmic intelligence just flows through you, right? And you're able to touch people and reach people and cultivate these great relationships. So I was getting ready to say, how many good looking people do you know, right? When it's people you went to school with, and then 10 years later, you see them on Facebook or you see them in person, right? You're like, oh, that didn't go too well for you. Like, you're not taking care of yourself and you're really cute. Like, you're nice looking in the face. You got good genes. Like, what happened? You're not drinking enough water. You're not speaking positively to yourself. You don't feel successful. Like, so you can easily be that person as well. And it's about knowing better and making the decision and deciding not to judge yourself so harshly, because the world is already tough enough on us. We already have all these systems in place that are just self-depriving in nature. And so you really got to do the work, decide to do the work. The work is not just physical. It's not just getting up and making the money. It's not just making sure that your kids are taken care of. The work, well, that too. I don't know why that came up, but the work is deciding and sticking to it, and all in utilizing all of these tools that we gave you thus far. So yeah, I know I could go on and on and on and on, but I'll cut it there.
Okay.
Love it.
I know we pressed on time. I don't know how much time we have. But if we don't have too much time for you, but just going, what's your final thoughts and your social media? If we don't have that much time, but if we do, y'all can keep going.
Are you asking me for time, Phonetic? How you feeling?
I feel great, girl. Y'all, because y'all charging me up, honestly and truly. Every time you talk, I'm just getting another revelation to share.
Well, I mean, I'm okay. I'm okay. I mean, if everyone else is okay, if we're here,
Yeah,
I love this. Yeah, I love this space. So I'm good for right now.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. What you said, like being able to take the judgment out of it, and this is also like why I just love having conversations, because we activate each other's consciousness when we speak to each other. And you know, you said like this idea of good and bad, that's a human construct. Animals, when they go and eat another animal, they're not thinking it's bad. That's them surviving. That's their life. And so I know people get kind of weary when we get down this road of like blurring the lines between good and bad. And it's not really about blurring the lines necessarily and saying that somebody's actions can't be harmful. Nonetheless, people are sovereign. They have free will. So they are entitled to make whatever decisions they make. I think the true thing that we need to recognize is the impact. What is the impact that this has on me? What does it have on my friends, my family, my community? What is the domino effect of my actions? And then also getting into judgment in comedic philosophy, which Queen Afua, you know, utilizes. Judgment day is every day. And so when you bring yesterday into today, you are not in ma'at, you are not in balance, and you create a heavy heart. And so that's why we see the images of the heart being weighed against the feather, because your heart, you're supposed to empty out whatever transgressions, whatever heartache, whatever hardships you encounter on that particular day, and deal with it on that day and leave it in that day and move forward. And you know, this really hit me when I had like my first or second shroom trip. I was like, oh my God, my past life is literally 5 minutes ago. It's 5 seconds ago. That's my past life. You were like, it's done. It's over.
Facts.
And
Facts.
I used to, when I got into this world and realm of spirituality, I'm thinking like my past life is literally like before, you know, when my soul reincarnated the last time. And not to say that's not a past life, but it's as simple as yesterday is my past life. Whatever I did yesterday, we don't need to bring that up and live in that again. So if you're holding me to yesterday, I can change between yesterday and today. I can change between 5 minutes ago and now.
Yeah. And you have to accept that first before you start holding people to that standard. That's beautiful.
And that's self-care.
That's self-care.
Like, I've moved forward. You can't hold me to that.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to change. And if
Yeah.
you're afraid of it, if you don't want that, that's not on me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I realize whenever we're in a space where we haven't we are, you know, holding people accountable for what they've done and they've moved past this, because we are doing that to ourselves.
Yes. It all comes back to self. That's
Yes.
That's fact.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In great words, Jay-Z said, people say you changed, like you're supposed to say the same. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
You think I went through all of this to be who I was? What are you doing? What you drinking over there?
It's crazy. I stopped trying to prove, I stopped trying to prove things to other people, and I've decided to prove it to myself. And it didn't take long or much work really to prove that I am everything that I need to be, right? So when I adapted that mindset, and I was just like, okay, I'm dope. Like I did this, that, and the third. Now I can operate on my own times. Now there's no such thing as, you know, even time is a human construct, really, because where's the rush? What are you trying to do, right? You're trying to do all of these things. You're trying to get all of this, and you're trying to be it instantly without having decided that you are already it. So if you decide that you're already it, you won, because now you are it. So that's why it always comes back to that decision. That decision, so important. You gotta know why. You gotta know why you're doing it. Why you want to be this person, right? Why does the journey need to look like this for you? You have to answer those questions yourself, and it comes back to that self.
Yeah. It's like the deeper you go, the deeper you go.
Yeah. 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 So I would love to take this, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Yeah, the only thing is your final thoughts, social media, like I said, but that only comes to conclusion. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's that for me, but like I said, I'm not a host.
Oh, he's not the host. Okay, so I was talking to
I'm not a host.
I was talking to the host. That was the answer to the host.
Okay, I think I have a final question. For anyone who is, you know, on the road to self-actualization, we'll say, and, you know, wants to see themselves in maybe perhaps where you are, or just beyond where they are right now, what is one piece of advice that you would give them, that you feel like you could really give anybody any space in their life?
Ooh, be yourself comes to mind. And again, so cliche, like what does that even mean? It just means what it means. Like unapologetically, like just show up as yourself. And it should actually be easy. I was getting ready to say it's not easy, but it is easy if you let go of those expectations and of yourself, right? So if you want to, first of all, the way you phrase the question, you said if they want to be where I am, or, you know, they just want to be, you know, their next greatest self, you're never going to be where I am, right? So also remove the comparison. That's another lesson I've been hearing a lot. Let's stop comparing. Your journey is not supposed to look like mine. You're not supposed to show up like me. I'm not supposed to show up like you. And that's what makes this entire thing so beautiful, is because that you can decide. This is what I want to let you know, that you're already there. You can decide that you're already successful, right? It's a concept. It's a mental construct. So if you approach it that way, it's going to be easily digestible. And it's kind of those concepts of fake it till you make it, or what's the other one that comes to mind? It's another one similar to that. And even though I don't like that wording, it's the concept of just deciding that you are already it, and continue to do that. You got to remember that you're fighting programming. Who you are right now, if you don't like who you are, or how you're showing up, or even how you look, or the habits that you're doing, you got to understand that it's not your fault. You are a product of programming. You're a product of conditioning that was not put in place to serve your better good. So once you know that now, and if you didn't know that before, I am telling you, if you didn't know that, now you know. And what you can do is, right, use alchemy, switch it around. Say, okay, now that I know, I can change. And that's what you said before, right? Giving yourself that permission to change. So I don't know if I answered that. Well, I answered that question in so many different ways, but yes, aspire to be yourself now. Accept where you are and be like, okay, what can I do to get where I need to be? Who do I need to be who I need to be? If that makes sense. Because sometimes we're too focused on the, what do I need to do? Do I need to go get a second job? Do I need to buy this new laptop? Do I need to get these new sneakers? Do I need to, hire a team of people? Do I need to meet new people? Like, what do I need to do? And not who do I need to be? Who do you need to be? Do you need to be someone more loving and supporting to your community? Do you need to be someone who holds healthier boundaries for themselves? Do you need to be someone who loves on themselves more, right? So many different things, but who do you need to be that person, to become that person? Yeah, be yourself. Be yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yes, thank you. I love that, because an epiphany I had yesterday, it was mad epiphanies. And I made like a video. I didn't post it yet, but I was just like, not you, but like in the video I was like, the problem with people is that you're so dedicated to being who other people think you should be, or what society thinks you should be, that you can't be who you are. And you have allowed yourself to buy into the illusion as opposed to your own reality. And it's that simple, going back to like, know thyself. If I know that I like cookies and cake and I'm fasting, I'm not going to the dessert shop. That's knowing yourself. It's just that simple. When you know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, you will move differently in your life, and be differently, because you know what is required of you to be you.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's what you said. I feel like you said it the way that somebody else needs to hear it be said, though. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
The way I'm saying it, it's not going to hit the people that you need to speak to, go touch.
Right.
Because I'm here to reach a certain group of people, and you're here to reach a certain group of people, and Diamond Cash is here to reach a certain group of people. Yes. And we're not all going to reach the same people, because like you said, can't nobody be you, can't nobody level up the way you do or walk in your shoes, because there's no other Vanessa Wilson born on the day you was born at the time you was born, with the astrology chart and the life path and the ethnicity and the culture and the blood that you have. Nobody. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is the power of knowing yourself, that no one else can be you.
That's your superpower.
And
that's your superpower. So do it. So do it. Everybody listening to this now and later on when it's posted, yes, do it. Be yourself. That's it.
Let's go. Okay. Yes.
I feel fulfilled.
Let's go. All right. So social media handling, Vanessa.
Yes. I am primarily on Instagram. I'm working on my Facebook, y'all. I'm working on my Facebook. We're gonna get there. But you guys can find me on Instagram at _Veganese. That's vegan, VEGANEASE. And yes, I want to take this opportunity now to let you guys know that I am dropping a 6-week group coaching program for people who want to learn how to transition vegan. Okay. So if you are interested, if you've been trying to, excel on your plant-based journey and you're just meeting so many blockages and you don't know why, and we hit some points for you in this podcast, you are not disciplined, or you want to learn how to become more disciplined, you want to apply these spiritual concepts to your diet, you want to be fit, you want to feel better, you want to live a happier and more fulfilling life, you want to increase your energy, you want to get that snapback body. I don't know what you're snapping back from, but you want to get your vegan, healthy, nutrient-filled body together. All you got to do is hop on my Instagram and look at my transformation. Look at the way that I show up. I work out regularly. I eat well. I will be teaching you all the things and all the tools that I use on my journey thus far. The affirmations, the meditative work, it's going to encompass the entire thing. And at the end of it, you are going to come out. I won't promise you veganism, only because that's up to you, boo. So how you show up and what you get out of it and your transformation is always up to you. But I will promise you that you will be equipped with all of the tools necessary to constantly make that decision on not only why you want to be vegan, but staying the course. So if you are interested in that, again, it is a 6-week group coaching program. It's a hybrid program, so it's going to incorporate homework and modules and live group sessions. If you're someone who's looking for community in the Black wellness space, this may be something for you. So if you guys are interested in that, you guys can hit me up you guys can send me a DM on Instagram, again, at _Veganese. You guys, if you're in the NYC area, I also do vegan meal prep through my company, Veganese. So you guys can hit up my website at www.veganesellc.com and order your fresh meal prep straight through there. And lastly, I'll add, which we didn't talk about this entire time, is sea moss. I also sell wild crafted sea moss gel. In the future, I will be selling the raw wild crafted sea moss if you wanted to make it yourself, straight from St. Lucia. I deal with everything authentic, right? That's the way I show up all the time. So trust and believe, I got the real deal for y'all. Anyway, I sell sea moss gel. And the benefits of that is endless. We'll be here for another 2 hours. But if you want to clear up your skin, if you want help on your weight loss journey, if you have thyroid issues, if you are looking to just become more nutrient rich, because a lot of the experiences that we have and a lot of the illnesses that we encounter are because we are lacking in nutrients. The foods we're eating are processed. They are, as I said earlier, we can't break them down, right? So sea moss contains 90% of all of the minerals and essential minerals that our bodies need to operate and function correctly. So if that's something you're interested in learning more about, or you already know about it and you want to get some gel, I ship and I offer pickup and shipping options. So again, you guys can hit me through the DM on Instagram. And I love and appreciate all of you so much.
Let's go. Now, do you do, because we do have people from specific time and, California, Texas, all over San Diego watching this podcast, listen to it. If they want a consultation, how can they reach out to you? Is just like a one-on-one basis?
Yeah, they can hit me through the DM on Instagram, and we'll set something up. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Copy. Okay. Y'all hear that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll leave a phone number as well. If you happen to not be on Instagram or you don't want to go that route, you can also text me. I'm gonna give you guys my number: 516-939-7239. You guys can shoot me a text message. Hey, I heard you on Diamond Cash's podcast. I'm looking to work with you. How can we move forward? And we'll set something up that way as well.
Come on, somebody, let's go. Come on. And that's what it is, man. That's what it is. And I definitely I definitely appreciate what you're doing for women out here. So, like, seriously, final thoughts before our hosts take it away.
Final thoughts. Oh gosh, you guys, I let out so much. Final, right? I might have given it all. Final thoughts. I love you. 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 I love you so much. And I clearly I love myself so much, and that's where it's come from. I'm able to love you properly and love you fully, and do what I do for you because you exist and because I exist and because that's what we're here to do. So I love you. That's it.
Message received.
Yes,
Message received.
we love you as well. And we thank you for your time and your energy.
Received. Are we signing out now?
Yes, we are.
That is all for tonight, y'all. You
Yes.
have made it to another episode of Diamond Cash Incentives, because as you can see, these are gems. We just enhanced your abundance, and that's an incentive to live better. Can I get an ashe? Amen.
Hey, yes.
Amen.
All of
Yes. Peace, love, abundance, and light.
that.
All right, y'all.